Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Go Boldly, the podcast, where we celebrate women stepping into their power and living their most authentic lives. We love to remind you we have our weekly women's circle. You can find out more about that on our website at goboldlyinitiative.com/weekly circle. One of our favorite things to do every single week is to host this circle, bring women together in community, and sort of dive deeper into the things we talk about here on the podcast, but also what's happening in the world, what's happening in our lives, what's going on with our families, all those things. And it's just a lovely, safe, supportive place to be. So join us if you can. We would love to have you. And that being said, it's our summer of fun. I cannot remember what we called these. We had a name for it. Before I dive into our topic for this third episode of our mini season, let me say hello to Tovah, get her talking to you guys, and see how she's doing today. What's happening, Tovah?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. What I'm reminding myself is that when this episode airs, I will have gone and come back from my work trip. I will have moved into my new house, and all the stress that I'm feeling right now will hopefully be resolved. I suppose if I remember to call Verizon and PSENG so I have electricity and Wi-Fi in my new house. But it will all be resolved, and I'm excited about that. So
That's fair.
there'll be something else to stress out over. But
Yeah, oh, there always is. I will be on vacation, which I'm real excited about.
there you
We're doing
go.
a group trip this year with other families, and I am very excited for me and the other two moms because I think we're gonna have a great time. I'm curious to see what happens with the kids and how feral they get as they spend a week together at the beach, running wild. So I am excited about that. I will have details when we come back about how that goes, but I think it'll be fun.
Nice. I can't
Um,
wait to hear it all about it.
yeah. So speaking of fun, right? We're talking all about fun, finding the joy nuggets, exploring how different aspects of our lives can bring joy and hope and excitement and community and all those fun things we like to talk about. And today we are talking about music, which, oh my goodness, maybe even more than books, but I don't know. Music is a huge part of my life. I know it's a huge part of Tova's life as well. And when we think about the things in our lives, throughout the span of our lives that
Yeah.
have brought us joy, that have brought us feeling, that have brought us comfort and satisfaction and all those things, music is at the forefront of that. And so we couldn't really have a season talking about joy nuggets without talking about music. So here we are talking about it.
Yeah, and I think one thing we've been focusing on with this joy nuggets concept, right, is that we can't joy can't always be relied on from something big or magical or amazing happening. It may be a book that you're reading. It might be a song that comes on, I wouldn't say the radio, but whatever it is that you use to listen to music and that is surprising or that you love, or it's such music is such a powerful way to channel emotions or to get sent back to the place that you were at one point or to remember a certain experience. Um, and I think that when we are trying to figure out how to handle the stress that is the world, um, it can be such a powerful and magical way to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, so I did a little research. I really tried to bare bones the research for this mini season we're having because I just want to talk about stuff. Um, and I wasn't really too concerned with what the science tells me. However, I did do a little bit of research, and there is a ton of science out there, as you might imagine, about how music impacts our mental health, physical
Mm.
health, cultural well-being, all of those all-encompassing things that bring together the entirety of health, right? And just to run through it a little bit, without diving too deep into it, because we're here to have fun today. Um, Science tells us that listening to music stimulates the release of dopamine, which you might be able to guess already, but it does, and that causes us to feel good, right? Like that's what dopamine does. It makes you feel good. And it can be, there's science out there that has tracked how like a climax in a song or like a peak emotional part of a song really can give you a big hit of dopamine. And that's one of the reasons people love music so much, because it makes us feel good.
Right.
Um, it also activates different parts of the brain, your limbic system, which helps with processing emotions and memory. That's one of the reasons they tell you to play music for your baby in utero. And then they also have like when you have people with dementia or neurological disorders, aging disorders,
Mm-hmm.
music also plays a big role in that sort of healing journey, or at least like helping journey. What else do I have in here? There's a couple other things. It creates social connection, it regulates moods, it can shift your mood. We have that conversation in my family all the time. Um, but just a little more science, it also activates the hippocampus and amygdala, which are related to emotional responses and memory function. So all of that sciencey stuff is great. But let's talk about like what we feel. Let's talk about our musical feelings, Tova. What song do you remember from your childhood that brings you like peace and comfort? I'm throwing you totally under the bus right now because I did not prepare you for that question.
What song brings me peace and comfort? Um,
Or like what genre? Like you could just pick a whole genre if you want. You don't have to pick a song.
I so it's interesting that you asked that because music gives me I guess I have to change how I'm thinking about the question. Like music gives me peace and comfort, but I automatically went to thinking about like, oh, I need a like slow, calm song. And it was like, but those aren't the songs that I listen to for peace and comfort. Or like, so I was
Yeah.
like, that's not what you asked. You didn't ask what was a slow, calm song. Um, I will say this will be a very, very long answer, as you can expect when asking me about songs. But when I was little at bedtime, I listened to Windham Hill, and I've never been able to find the like same CD. It was a tape. I listened to like some tapes of it, and I've never been able to find the same music again. But like my kids and I all listen to like the meditation channel at bedtime,
Yeah.
which is kind of the same, but not really. Um, some music that just like takes me back, and I think like maybe provides me comfort because when I'm feeling angsty, like there's no more of an angsty time than when you're a teenager. And so if something provided you comfort then, it certainly will now. So sometimes at bedtime, like if I manage to get into bed early enough to read with my lights on while there's like people still about, so I'm not making too much noise, I'll listen to the Cranberries. Like
Mm.
I I don't I love them. And that's not their most of their songs are not calm and like peaceful. My dad used to call her the goat yodeler. But I would I would listen to them. Um, a lot of Jimmy Buffett songs take me back because I went to my first like so when I was little I hated Jimmy Buffett. I thought it was such awful
Mm.
cheesy music. And then my which because it is. And then my dad took me to a concert and I fell in love with Jimmy Buffett. And it was one of those like if you can't beat him, join him
Right.
situations. So like there's there's so much music that but those are kind of maybe like the first things that I think of. I tend to love music, and I also some of the music that I like the most and now it's been kind of a full circle thing, but like I maybe disliked first. So I would have told you that I didn't like country music growing up. Like I really
Mm.
didn't like country music. But there was a country music station in my town. And when I started running, I didn't run with a CD player. And there were like Walkman with like tapes were old. So you'd
Yeah.
have these little tiny like Walkman bigger than a shuffle or something, but like tiny for the time. And
Right.
you could get radio. But because we lived in a town that had a country music station, pretty much the only radio you could get was this country music station and this Christian music station. My mom would listen to the Christian music. She is not a Christian, but she really liked the vibes. And I ended up listening to the country music, and it was definitely similar to Jimmy Buffett, like if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. Because
Right.
I was like, well, this is what I can listen to. I guess this is what I'm going to listen to. Um, I imagine so like my son or a teenager listening to that now and being like, why don't you just like listen to Spotify? um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if there's one song. I'm sure there is, but like right now, when I if I were to lay down and relax and listen to music, I would probably listen to like to read a book. I would listen to like the Cranberries or Nora Jones.
Mm. Yeah, definitely a little Nora Jones and Cranberry. I feel like different genres of music define different eras of my life, and not
Yeah.
necessarily because of the decade that the music came from, but just because of where I was in my life and
Right.
what was happening. And so I always find it interesting to hear from other people like what music related, what do you hear when you hear your childhood? Like what does it sound like? And I think it's telling of sort of how we learn to deal with our problems growing up and how we learn
Yeah.
to cope with things as adults, right? Like my peaceful, joyful music is very rarely like dance music, right? Or anything you could dance to. I probably am that stereotype of like it's a slow, soft song and that's peaceful. No, not really. It's folk music. It's always folk music. Like
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm kidding. But it's interesting to me, and I think the point of all of that for people listening is to understand that whatever brings you joy and whatever brings you comfort, whatever brings you a feeling of peace or serenity or excitement or whatever it is you're looking for, whatever that emotion is you're
Yeah.
seeking and trying to either process within yourself or experience or whatever it is, it's going to be different for everybody. It's not going to be the same. So you have to accept that, like, and this is an argument my husband and I have all the time. He's like, why are you listening to that depressing music? It makes you so depressed. And I'm like, it really doesn't. First of all, I don't find it depressing. Second of all, it is the kind of music that allows me to process whatever I'm feeling at any
Yeah.
given time. And if I don't do this, like if I try to fake it through listening to like the Bee Gees and putting on a pair of roller skates, like I'm not dealing with my feelings. I'm just like putting a band-aid on it, which is fine. Sometimes you need to do that. And that's the wonderful thing of music, right? Like you can use it, you can utilize music to accomplish whatever you need to accomplish. And yeah, sometimes you need to like throw on some disco and like just, not deal with whatever existential crisis is hitting you at any given time.
Well, and I think I think that I was going to say he, you don't know who he is. Travis Kelsey was talked about. I know.
Your buddy, your pal.
My pal.
Yeah.
No, Jason Kelsey is my bud. Travis is his brother. But Travis Kelsey was talking a couple months ago on their podcast about like what do you listen to when you're um, down? Like,
Oh yeah, I think we talked about this.
right? We talked about it in the circle,
Yeah, no, I
and
meant you and I. We talked
yeah,
about it.
yeah, and we talked about it in the circle. But like,
Yeah.
what do you talk about? Like, and he was talking about obviously Taylor Swift, but like he was saying that like sometimes when you're feeling down, you want to listen to music that matches you, and
Yeah.
then it can pull you out, right? Like it can you can kind of as you're ready to move out of that downness, like either you'll decide naturally that you're over it, but it's like I don't know, it's like the equivalent of watching a sad movie when you're
Yeah.
sad but you're not totally connecting with your emotions.
Right.
And you can listen to and I will admit, like there is a Taylor Swift song for every emotion. Like
I mean, obviously, like
yeah,
we're Swifties for life over here. But like,
Yeah,
there are so many different
there are other songs
music
too. But like, yeah,
yeah,
and like there are other songs. But like there is a song for every feeling, and it's funny because I know last week you talked about how you like poetry,
mm,
and I, until this conversation, would have said like until I found I took a book from, I just bought a book a couple weeks ago or months ago. I didn't ever intentionally buy a poetry book for the purposes of reading poetry, but I love music and I listen to the words of music, and what are
right.
lyrics but not poems set to music? Like,
Yeah. Another argument Sean and I have all the time is like, are you there for the vocals or the lyrics, or are you there for the music?
how do
And I'm
you
there for
separate
both.
them?
I mean, I'm there for both, but like, I know there are people, him included, that don't really pay that much attention to the lyrics. They're not like, they're there for whatever feeling they might get, but
Mm,
also like the instruments themselves give them an experience. And
yes.
I had no idea that that was a thing until he and I have argued about this at length.
Well, I mean, I like classical music. I can tear up on a regular basis with
Yeah,
classical music. Like,
absolutely.
that is a very easy, and there's no words. But
I
I,
just didn't know that you could ignore the words. Like I can't ignore the words to a song. Like if there's a song, there have been several songs, current ones, that I've heard. Like I've been with the radio playing or whatever in the car, and I'm like, this is like, what is happening in this song?
right,
That this is
right.
what we're singing about, and I can't even think of one right now. But there have been several, and like some of them are really inappropriate, but then some of them are like, I don't know. There's one that's like I had something about the tiniest violin, and I was like, I kind of love this song, but also this is really bad. Like,
Well, it's also like there have, I mean, when I was younger, there was some songs that I did not know what they were singing about, and I sang
oh,
along.
so many, especially for us, I think, in
Yeah,
80s and 90s.
yeah. Like there were a lot of songs that I loved, and now I'm like, oh,
Oh, I know it's fun when that happens.
that's what that means.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
all right, I have another question for you.
Okay. Okay.
When you think about songs that have gotten you through things or like helped you kind of like get over the hump or process some trauma or whatever, because I'm sure there are songs.
Yeah.
What aspects help you from like what aspects of the, you don't have to tell me the specific songs because I hate putting people on the spot because I can never remember anything. But like if you don't think of a specific song, like what is the type of song? Like what's the mood? What's the vibe that helps you process your trauma?
Um, probably musicals, like show tunes.
Okay.
Like now that I'm thinking about it, because I was like trying to think of songs, and so probably like show tunes. Honestly, like I like songs that tell a story,
Yeah.
and so there are obviously a lot of songs that tell stories. But when I need to like process something or need to feel something, like I don't know, maybe I'm listening to Six, the musical, which that is processing one very specific set of emotions. Um,
Absolutely.
or,
Speaking of
but,
inappropriate things, my daughter listens to
oh
that
my
musical on
God,
repeat and it's totally inappropriate.
so
And one day
inappropriate.
she'll be like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Um,
anyway.
and the, I used to listen to like Phantom and Les Mis. Like when I was feeling like all angsty and teenagey and had like such big emotions and nowhere to put them, I would put them into
Mm-hmm.
musicals. And Rent.
So, you know
Uh,
what's amazing about this whole conversation is like people are like, oh, you and Tova are so similar. You have so much in common. I'm like, yes, yes, we do.
except for all the
Except
things that we do
for all
not.
these things that we do. Like I would die before I used a musical to like help me process anything.
I mean,
like,
listen,
put
I'm
your jazz
not
hands away, people.
okay. Okay, but let's be clear. Not a single one of the musicals I mentioned used jazz hands.
No, for sure. But it
I
like
mean,
just
listen,
wouldn't.
there's a
It
time
wouldn't
and
occur to
place for
me.
cabaret in Chicago, but
Yeah, and I love a musical. Like I have a kid that's like theater kid all the way. I'm totally into it. But like
but
when
like,
I think I get the like Sarah McLachlan "Don't Kill the Dogs" songs,
oh
like,
God, yes.
and that's where I go, or
Um,
like the Smiths or
oh, I do.
something
So
like.
I do like the Smiths. I mean, I just listen to a lot of music, but when you're like, I'm not going to pick one song to put you on the spot to, I was like, oh, but I have the song. So when I was in a dark place and I was trying to figure out what the next steps of my marriage and life were, um, Greatest Showman was like super popular.
Yeah,
And we love Greatest Showman in my house. Like we are
it is
huge.
very inspirational. I
Yes.
that one I can get. I would be on board with. Totally understand where you're coming from.
And the song This Is Me is
Hmm.
like amazing. And actually, if you've not, even if you haven't seen The Greatest Showman or you don't like it, or not if you don't like it, if you don't like it, like whatever with you.
We
But
can't
like,
help you.
yeah. But there is a video on YouTube of the woman who sings This Is Me. And it's the first time she's singing it with like it's when they're still workshopping it. I forget what they call that in Broadway world, but like they're
Oh yeah,
workshopping it,
there's something.
whatever. And she's there and she's singing it for the first time in front of everybody. And it's just like jaw dropping because you can see her confidence building like
Like
as
as
she
she's singing
sings
it,
it.
yeah.
And it's just like it is so powerful. But I remember listening to these words and finding like so much strength in them. And like I said, I don't read poetry. So it's not just the words. It's the combination of the words and the music. Because
Yeah.
I think if you took away the words, the music is probably very like tapping into some emotion as well. And it's when
Yes.
you combine them, you get Elton John, right? Like because he wrote one and Bernie, whose name I can't think of, wrote the other, right?
Yeah.
But I think like this particular song was like kept me going and also like had the standard of like if I really want to sing along to the song, I have to be able to sing authentically and I can't right now. So it's like when you are it's like the equivalent of when you're reading a book and you have a character who you want to emulate and you're like, okay, I have to do these 28 things. Like right now I'm reading a book where the woman is taking a bike trip from New York City up to Niagara Falls on a bike trail and I'm like, I want to do that. Like but that's a whole book, right? And this is just
Right.
one song and there's so much power in that one song.
Yeah.
Do you don't get to ask all the questions. Do
All
you
right. Hit me.
Well, it's just the same question. Like, I mean, you said Sarah McLachlan and like versus musicals, but is there like one song that if we were putting together the like Rielly Karsh soundtrack, this is your life. Like, what is the song that's going to fill the pulling yourself up song?
Oh gosh. Um the pulling I don't really think I have a pulling myself up song because I think this is where we differ in the sense that I use and I'm not even looking at the camera, I just left the planet. I use music to help me feel
Yeah.
and process. And once I do that, then I can sort of do other things.
Yeah.
Um, not to make this episode about me, but I struggle to emote for a variety of reasons. So
Right.
it's like crying is very hard for me. Talking about like my actual feelings when they're not positive is hard for me.
Yeah.
Not with like people I'm super close to, but out in the world.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I will answer any question you ask me, and I will probably answer it honestly, and it will probably be with like a totally flat affect, like, yeah, this is what happened. I don't know. What, is that weird? And then somebody will be like, that's horrifying. And I'll be like, oh, I guess I should have a feeling about that. And then I have to
Yeah.
figure out what the feeling is. Like, that's the process sometimes for me. Not always. And it's much better now than it was when I was younger. But that's a lot of the, like, when I get objective and logical about it, that's sort of the process that happens for me. And so I grew up with musicians. I grew up in the music industry with my dad being in that. And, so I was surrounded by all kinds of music. There is not a genre of music that I haven't been exposed to or like been involved with in some way. And there, whether it was a record player playing, my dad used to, on our birthdays, he would wake us up with the Beatles, like, hey, it's your birthday, like blaring through the house. Jimi Hendrix was always playing. Then like all the folk music was always playing. And those are the things I associate with like who I am, I guess. Yeah. Like, because I really identify as a person with certain genres of music. Right. And then there's more, like I was a very angsty teen, and we've talked about this at length. I was very depressed. And so like I really dove into that depression and really like fed it with some sad music. And then I guess now I listen to everything, but I find myself as I'm aging gravitating more back towards that like folk music. When I hear like when I hear the band Camp, I feel like I am a kid on my like little farm in northern New Hampshire again. Like that's what I feel, and like in a good way, not in a messed up way, like in a very positive way. And so that's one of the things Sean and I discuss all the time. And like he's like, that's so depressing. I'm like, but it like I literally my whole body relaxes when I hear certain songs from like that genre of music. Like everything in me just goes, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I can't give you a reason for it. Like it just does.
But I think for me to get that feeling from music, I mean, there's certainly music that I do get that feeling from, but to get that body relaxing, I have to dance it out. Like, and that even sad music, like the Tortured Poets Department or whatever that, like that is a lot of sad music that has some sort of like dancing it out quality to it, even though it's and that that helps me tap into it, right? Like I mean, I remember listening to Joel a lot. And I listened, there was somebody, Joan Arden, I want to say.
Oh, yeah. What If God Was One of Us, that lady or somebody else?
No, it wasn't her. It was somebody else. Oh, my God. I have to think of who this person was. God, I can feel the song.
Yeah. Like the 90s, the early 90s, when I was a teenager, it was all like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and like 90s hip hop. Like that's
but there was also like
that's all
Alanis Morissette, like that album.
I put her in the Pearl Jam category for some reason.
See, I put her in the angsty category.
Pearl Jam's pretty angsty to me, but we're getting off topic.
I mean, or we're exactly on topic, who's to say? But I think that like some like, well, maybe the point of all of this is that music is very powerful.
No, it is.
And we are being taken right now.
Right. We're getting taken off track by our love of music. Well, the other thing I guess I wanted to talk about before we sort of wrap it up here is the idea that music is empowering not just the individual, but the collective. And this isn't like a new idea. I certainly didn't come up with it. Everybody knows this, right? Like you have the 60s, like as a whole to tell us that this is a thing. And so I guess we just want to remind people that as we are going through what we're going through as a culture, as a society, as women, parents, all the things that we are, music is there to help us, and it's there to help us accomplish things if we want to as well. It doesn't have, like music is fun for the sake of being fun, right? Like it's great. It brings you joy for no reason other than it brings you joy. And music helps us like ignite, hope and possibility, and lifts us up above the like drudgery that's coming out of our, politicians and mouthpieces that are blah blah blahing all over the place. And so I don't, other than to remind us that like there are songs and there are musicians out there that can help us sort of feel hope and feel positive about the future. And it's something that is important for us to take note of.
Yeah, I think there's songs that can help you feel hope and musicians. There's albums. I want to
Mm-hmm.
encourage people to listen to albums because even though none of us listen to albums, artists still create albums to be listened to.
Yeah,
And they can be pretty amazing
for
when you
sure.
listen to one in a row. But there's protest songs, but there's also and there's songs for hope, but like there we go. There's songs for hope, but there's also these protest songs
Yeah.
that are very directly telling you to like do something. And I think it's also the power of live music, but I also think that like once you've seen somebody live, you can like channel that feeling. And as you said, it's the fact that music can touch all these different parts of your body. And to that end, I forgot I'm wearing my Brandy Carlisle concert T-shirt for today.
Yeah. I love it. Um, I throughout history, music has brought people together and helped people sort of form a direction and form like strength in the collective. And so, to the extent that we can do that now, I think,
Yes.
we will all benefit from it. Um, I don't know. Do we have, so the only thing I want to add, I guess, is if there are songs out there or musicians or I don't know, whole areas of music out there that you love and you find bring you hope,
Yep.
why don't you go ahead and share those with us? Because we could make a whole playlist. We could make the bold playlist of hope and share it with everybody. And it would be something to bring us all joy. So if you do have something in mind, feel free to share it with us. You can send it to us in an email. You could send it to us on social media. Whatever works for you is fine. For us, you can post it on your own social media and tag us. That's always fun. We love it when people do that because then we get to see all the other stuff you're doing, which is always, always fun. Now I sound like a creep. Um, we don't go too far down the social media rabbit hole, but yeah. So share it with us and let us know what your songs of hope are and what brings you joy in music. And I think that's it for this week, unless you have something else you want to add, Toa.
No, just listen to some music. Like if what I will say is you're listening to this in August, we're recording this in July, and my goal as part of this circle, my intentions as part of the circle, knowing that I can't remove stress from my life, but I can add joy nuggets, was to just listen to more music. And so I would encourage all of you, recognizing that there's only so much stress that we can reduce in our lives because of the world,
Right.
but we can add joy and we can add music, and we can do that. And it, for me, it means listening a little bit less to podcasts and books, but it means just physically feeling better. So go do that. That is your homework. We haven't given homework in a while. Go listen to
No,
some
we
music.
haven't. That's pretty good homework. So, all right, everyone. Well, we'll be back next week with one last episode of Joy Nuggets until we hit season 13. And yeah, until then, enjoy your summer, find some joy, and share your musical love with us. We'll be back next week, everyone.